What it do? What it do? What it do, everybody? Happy Sunday. We are back to wind down the last little bit of our week five. Week five? Week five action. Week five? Week five action, right? Yeah, week five, right? Anyways, hopefully everyone's having themselves a good Sunday. Today we've got Revolution versus Own. This promises to be a good one. 5-set banger. Starting off with Nurse on Wreckers, Spirit on Cold Tower, Oni on the Sheltered Woods. If we need it, Slinger on Suffo Pit, and Billy on the ARP. And with me on the desk today, usually the silent guy working in the background today, joining with me on the desk. Yo, bro, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing very well, thanks, man. How's things?
Oh, chilling, man, chilling. I'm going to ask probably a really silly question, but since you're usually our producer and muted, they can hear you, right?
Yeah, they can hear me. No
Okay.
stress at all there, so it'll be kind of awkward if they couldn't, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to make sure, because I have definitely been in that boat once or twice, and I sound like I'm just talking to myself back on the pod. So let's go ahead and take a trip here right on into the fog, like we talked about, starting with Nurse on Wreckers. And of course, you know, the Nurse being a staple in the competitive scene, very high action, high mobility, and on a smaller map like Wreckers, could get really spicy really quickly here. I do gotta say, I am kind of intrigued by the fact that we opt for the Ruin and the Undying. I feel like when we talk about Auto Haven, not exactly the map that's known the best for having the most hidden totem spawns. So I'm gonna be interested to see how long these things stand here.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I don't actually think I've seen gameplay of a Nurse on Wreckers before, so I wonder what it's going to be like, because Wreckers is infamously known for all those pellets, so without that line of defense, what are you going to use to hide from the Nurse?
I mean, to hide, I don't know if you can hide anything. I think the best thing here, right, is to really just try and I think the best thing, especially when you're talking about a smaller map like Wreckers, and I think why it's going to be really fun watching two teams like this, is it really kind of relies on the communication and the coordination, especially when things get a little hectic. You know, you have one person calling out where they're going, while you have one person calling out, or one person calling out where they're taking the Nurse, one person calling out where they're going looking for a reset, one person calling out what gen they're on. The teams that can kind of keep composure during all that, those are like those ones that we tend to see kind of, it's like the cream rises to the top here. So when we talk about two teams at the top of our league right now, starting with this set, should be interesting. We do see, though, an early down on Kenna, about 10 seconds left from the Corrupt Intervention. Also saw that Undying got cleansed across the way, and it does look like we're actually able to detect the person trying to sneak in behind us here. That is going to be Mark, but there's actually someone right there for a quick unhook.
Ooh, just went past the knee a little bit too far, but doesn't look like it's the Nurse's main priority anyway, so looking to just swing right past that. Survivor's already getting the first gen done with Ruin is great, especially this gen, although it wasn't pressured so much before anyway, so Adam's just going to go into comp corner, as you would call it, Q. Down he goes.
Oh, cornering up, baby. Of course, it just, it's like, those are like some of the things, like more, I guess that'd be like more macro, right? Like understanding that even though it's like not really a strategy, but it's just the whole, every second counts, right? So by just going to the corner, making sure that one, the down takes a little bit longer, two, the hook process takes a little bit longer, that allows two people to dig into some gens a little bit more, especially now that we have the Ruin cleansed here, so we don't have to worry about the progression from the Ruin. However, we do have Pop Goes the Weasel going to be available to us. Going to be interested to see if Tito's opts to use that before going for a hook here, because we already have 25% available to us. It looks like we might have wanted to commit to the chase, and kind of understandable so if we can continue to get some tags and get some downs.
Crazy here with the Ruin being down and the Pop Goes the Weasel. It looks like Nurse doesn't even need to use it. She's way more confident on just getting and securing those hits and downs, applying all that extra pressure of knowing that Survivors, it's too hard to heal against a Nurse because there's just way too much going on. Too much to focus on gens for points, too much to focus on avoiding chases, which you basically can't do. There's a lot going on here.
This is now going to be our second hook here on Kenna. So that means we do already have one survivor on the verge of elimination. And we can see some pretty decent 3-gen, 4-gen in this corner. I mean, it's Wreckers. We've only had 1 gen pop, so kind of understandable. Decent amount of progress on this gen back here as well, which is now going to get the first pop kick of the game. So our survivors will be able to feel and see that 25% regression on that generator. Slows the game down just a little bit here. And if we have nobody coming in for assistant, wait, we still have scratch marks, right?
I barely saw them, to be honest. I wasn't too focused on the scratch marks. Oh shit.
I think we have scratch marks behind us at the hook though too. So I think Backy's gonna try and pull his aggro away. I thought we'd seen some scratch marks going into that jungle tile. Could be wrong. Looks like I'm wrong.
Man, T-Doge is not messing around. He really wants to defend these hook and these gens. And
that timer's paused. That's why there is scratch marks, to get that timer to pause.
Oh, that does make sense. Good eye. Because you can only see it pause when it's, like when you spectate the survivors, you can see it's paused, but on the killer side, you can't.
So, I mean, that's going to be, that's really smart. It's going to buy them some extra time here. It looks like that. I almost wonder, though, if they're going to end up full sending to the gens over friends. It looks like so, because otherwise you'd have to get the save, like, literally right now. Yeah, it's just going to be the elimination here onto Kenna, as we do see the tag here onto Mark as well across the way. Now, Mark is going to try and just... Oh, I thought it was going to shift W-Tech across the map into a dead zone, or into where there's no gens, but instead ends up over here on the ground.
Very spicy 360 from T-Doge here. I was going to say, he wasn't messing around with not getting these gens done, but it looks like he's just smashing it out here right now. He's really making sure that no one is getting anything done, and even though they've gone through 3 generators already, they've really done an impressive job of keeping the survivors up and going. Like, we've only got 1 kill so far, and there's 2 generators left, which is a pretty rare sight to see on Nurse. You usually have quite a few people injured, downed, or hooked with a couple gens remaining, but they've done very well on being resilient and strong enough to stay standing.
And even still at this point, well, we've got 1 more fresh hook left. I'll be interested to see what kind of strategy our team takes here to try and maybe make sure that that's the survivor that makes it to the end game. Oh, we see 2 survivors here. Actually, that's going to be a swing and a miss here as well. It is going to buy a little bit of time. We do know that Backy was there. We know that we was using the flashlight as a distraction. That does let Mark get away. We might be seeing generator number 4 popping soon, because it's been a little while since we have seen the Claudette.
Just going to check over here in a zone that doesn't really have much to work with. Maybe pulling the Nurse away from that down could be what they're trying to do. And it looks like it. They're going straight over to... Oh, no. Just trying to buy some time. Putting in that firecracker. Gets the blind. And does the Nurse lose? Does T-Doge lose sight of that Claudette? It looks like it bought a lot of time for sure. It definitely caused T-Doge some confusion here.
Just a lot of time. The only thing that's interesting here, right, is because obviously if we send somebody over in for the pickup, that means it's somebody that's not on a gen. And right now, if we don't get a 4th generator complete, that will mean that our killer coming out here can't rely on just a 3-gen setup to even try and go for a tie sort of situation. So, yeah, I would probably shake my head too. That was tough.
Yeah. Big preemptive dead hard, unfortunately. Got the Nurse swing, lasting just a little bit longer. Got the down. Big shame. Maybe next time.
So that should be our last fresh hook here. So now we're at least, it's going to be more about seeing what our survivors decide to do in response. We had seen earlier that the Atom was able to get reset. Not quite the same story for Backy here. So not sure if maybe they are trying to get set up for a reset. If that's the case, it means Backy's somewhere around here. If not, Backy could be trying to move in for the save entered, which could also be quite risky here. Yeah, there's actually going to be the save coming in across the way. Nice double back with the locker move here to be able to avoid it. Not going to be able to build too much distance, however. Now eventually just going to end up on the ground here.
Honestly, it's quite incredible how when survivors know to do these locker plays and stuff, you know, maybe you might try it in a public game, maybe you're not experienced with comp and stuff. You jump in a locker, jump out to try avoid the nurse hit, and it would, you know, not go through. Like maybe the nurse would swing and get you out, but it seems like these players just know what to do with, you know, optimal time efficiency. Nurse knows not to try go for a mind game and swing at the end of her fatigue because it'll just waste more time if he doesn't jump out. And it's all of those little tiny things that people do for efficiency just to make comp more exciting, you know, thinking outside the box or thinking 2 steps ahead to get those hits, get those downs, get gens, etc.
And especially because we've seen, I mean, T-Doge has shown a really good example of it here, right? I mean, literally using no tracking perks, but just always seems to know exactly where to go to at least find one of the survivors. You know, I mean, we know sometimes we'll see, like in public lobbies, people like to use that barbecue and chili, obviously for the blood points, but also say at least have an idea of where to go after each hook, whereas T-Doge, just because of the game sense and the map awareness, always seems to be able to go from either putting somebody onto the ground or onto the hook to being able to find someone just like that. So and it looks like here, I don't think T-Doge is going to allow for a 4th gen to get complete, which is going to be putting things in, or putting his team in a really good spot here.
Oh, wow. Just like that, saw some blood on the ground, then followed up by some marks. There's the dead hard and the down. Just like that. Absolutely incredible performance done out by T-Doge today.
So now here we just got to make sure that we secure our slugs, and we'll be looking at a 4K before the 4th generator pops, which is absolutely huge for Rev here. I mean, you're coming out on the killer side, you get to set the tone, and I mean, really putting owns behind the 8 ball here to start things out. I mean, we anticipate that this is going to be a really hard fought series. So if you come out here and, you know, set the pace like this, definitely what you want to do for Evolution.
You reckon Tito's just going to close hatch first to eliminate any sort of adrenaline play?
Yeah, I think part of it too is I think we might have lost track of when last time back he was on the hook and just playing it safe. I think it's just kind of making sure we cross the T's, dot the I's, just make sure we're playing it safe. Yeah, don't have to worry about the adrenaline or anything like that. And plus, I mean, it is a fresh hook. I don't know why I say anything about the sites that Backy hadn't been hooked. I'm an idiot. I thought Backy had been hooked earlier.
Oh, perhaps Tito's thought maybe that could have been a deliverance, so he was waiting out for the kill rather than the hatch.
Maybe. That would make sense. Also across the way, just so you don't have to worry about finding somebody when you go to put, Backy up onto the hook here. But 24-6 in favor of Rev here. I'm going to be interested to see who it is that comes out on the nurse for owned and what kind of performance they'll be able to put up here, because they're basically, if they're wanting to win set 1, you need to get that 4K before the 3rd gen pops. I don't want to say it's an impossible task, but it's a darn near impossible one, you know?
Yeah. No, again, that was really incredible put up by T-Doge and the survivors too. To get 3 gens out by going against T-Doge is really impressive. But that does set a marker for team owned. They're really going to have to smash out Revolution before they get, 4 gens done. Otherwise, that's the win condition. So it's going to be really hard to see. Well, it's going to be hard to imagine what's going to happen here, but we can find out after a quick short break. Alrighty, folks, we are going to take another dive back into Wrecker's Yard with Nurse, but from the own side this time. We're going to see what kind of fight they're going to put up against Revolution and hopefully see a really interesting game. Without further ado, let's go back in. What do you think is going to happen here, Q?
Man, this is going to be tough. I mean, we see that Backy is coming in with a pretty aggressive build here, also matching that Ruin and the Undying. I think we're just looking to keep the pedal down in the middle. I think that's also shown with the Sloppy, right? Especially after the changes to that hemorrhage effect. If you can interrupt those heals, make sure people continue to stay, one-shotable, essentially, since they're still injured. Could be big value, especially for a nurse who can traverse the map and really has that big slug potential. We've already got one person on the ground here. Now also getting a tag onto T-Doge. Unfortunately, we did lose our Undying, however, so this is going to be interesting.
I was just about to make mentions of the Undying. The Undying went very fast. It's almost as if the survivor spawned right next to it. That was a very quick loss of Undying, unfortunately, but if Ruin's in a nice, tight enough spot, maybe the survivors won't notice it, and then we'll get some value. And it looks like, No, it looks like Luri's onto it now.
Tough. Now, of course, I mean, even though you might not get the most value of it early, I think here's where you can at least get some big early game value from it, right? I mean, we see coming back, you're interrupting what was the potential save here. You can kind of keep an eye. It looks like Lori trying to go back there. Hey, don't touch my bones. Heading back here because, oh no, this isn't the Lori. This is pools of blood. This is going to be the Claudette here, which could lead to another hook very quickly. Dead hard, though, to be able to avoid the swing. And of course, with the swing, cause a little bit longer of a fatigue. We also see the save coming in at the basement. Backy stuck with a tough decision. Is going to have to keep checking in on this ruin. I feel like inevitably we're going to have to let that thing go, or our survivors can kind of just keep coming over and, you know, staying in the vicinity, and Backy's going to be more focused on that than the actual objective. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, now that Backy has not only the pressure of keeping the, you know, pushing people off gens, but now he has to push people off his ruin to push people off gens to get value. So it's going to be really tough because by now the survivors have communicated where that ruin is, and you can already see that he doesn't really want to go investigate the other side of the map. He just wants to stay here to sort of keep some gens, but also keep his ruin up. So it's gonna be really crucial what happens here next, especially if, you know, he can secure downs fast enough, or if people are even gonna try go for that ruin.
And here we are. We're going to take it down here. Going to take a quick check-in on our ruin across the way. Make sure nobody's touching that thing. And it is it. Oh, we see a survivor off in the distance. I do believe that is our last fully healthy survivor, being the Nia, but that is big big value here if you're able to get a health state change, because that would mean everyone being injured, that snowball potential with such a like aggressive win condition right now, that could be really good for Backy, because I mean, if there was an unbreakable in play on T-Doge, I feel like we would have already seen it. So, oh, and the survivor sticking onto a generator, that's intriguing.
Looks like that two of them could have been on a generator together, one split up to go get T-Doge off the ground, and now, well, here we are. Looking like, yeah, I was going to say, he's going to hook right next to his ruin. He really wants to keep this side of the map as his side of the map, you know, like he's struggling in a, you know, in a bed fight with the Duna covers. It's too small of a blanket. He really wants to just pull it all for himself.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing, though, because we see the reset coming in on both the Claudette and the Fang here. So our survivor is doing a good job of kind of pushing that pressure back a little bit into their favor. The only problem, you know, that ruin is still going to be standing. So whenever we do happen to get off the gens, whether it's to come over for a save or whenever Backy happens to, you know, roll up towards their generator, that thing is still going to be regressing at the 200%, which is, I mean, quite steep. You figure that's a generator that's even 95, 99% can be regressed all the way back to zero if it isn't touched in just 2 minutes, if you're able to keep that pressure output. So that's looking to be what Backy's trying to do. We see the save across the way. Yeah, gonna have to go for the slug if you want to keep this ruin up.
Right back again. And again, as I said, like, he just really wants to make this side his. He doesn't want anyone coming over and touching that ruin, because that's his saving grace. And albeit it is working, but when you do have to slug someone to go check on your saving grace of ruin, it can cause some problems because you're not securing hooks. You may be pushing people off gens, but you're not getting hooks at the same time. So
there it is. That's going to be the ruin. So we are now down to being just a 1 perk Anderson here, and that 1 perk being Sloppy Butcher, which isn't getting us the most value right now. We've only got 1 survivor injured. We have another on the board, on the hook here. There's going to be T-Doge, though, now getting the tap. Now the question is Backy going to be able to follow that up with the down? We have to keep in mind this is the survivor that has used the dead hard multiple times. There it is again, to be able to avoid out the swing. So a longer fatigue after the 2 blinks. Continuing to take this time. Right now, realistically, should probably be trying to go more towards the opposite corner, more kind of by that broken truck, because it's this corner here is where we got quite a few gens to protect.
For sure, for sure. Not too sure where he wants to hook now. Could he be going for basement? Nah, he doesn't want to risk anything. He does hear that gen pumping to his left, though. He's going to have a quick pick on it, I would imagine, even though the survivors have probably moved away from there. Unlike our last nurse, we don't have any pop or any sort of gen regression value anymore. As you said, the 1 perk Anderson really needs to try hard to get some value out of this Sloppy Butcher.
where are our survivors now is the question, because realistically, if they can just bang out 2 more gens, that's all you need. And you've got 120 seconds of hang time here for the fresh hook onto Tito's. You see some scratch marks over here by the tractor. We're going to be seeing Mackie trying to blink our way through. There's going to be a broken status across the way on Tito's. Not sure if that's going to be the renewal or if that's going to be the deliverance. So we'll have to keep an eye on that over here the next couple of seconds. If that thing doesn't fix, that's for sure the deliverance means that our other 2 survivors, both the Fang and the Lori, did not need to come in for the save, which means they're more than likely just hanging out on a gen. And we're very close to seeing, well, we already saw the 3rd, but then the winning gen getting popped here soon.
Also pointing out here that we are at the win condition right now with the 3 gens completed, 1 more gen completed, and the win is going to have to go to Revolution here. It looks like Backy is just going to have to pull through something. He's going to have to somehow pull out a 5th perk and knock down all these survivors as soon as he can, but as well as defending those generators as well, because, well, of course, if they get 1 done, that's it. And just like that, there's that win condition set by Revolution here, taking away currently 32 points over 18 for Owned. For now, we'll just keep watching the match and see what Backy can do for us.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those points where Revolution is going to try and definitely just keep the momentum swinging in their favor, right? If you can go from not even allowing a 4th gen to pop to getting stages out the door here in set number 1 here on the Nurse, especially since we are still going to be keeping up the high intensity, high action, high speed gameplay with the Spirit on a smaller map like the Cold Tower in this next round, and these same survivors are going to be out here right again in trial number 3. There's generator number 4 popping off in the distance, or 5 popping off in the distance, which means our survivors can now start worrying about the doors, but that would definitely have things really swinging in their favor. And I'm not sure if it'd be Backy back out here again on the Spirit for Own, but if it is, these survivors have a chance to really take some wind out of the sails. Very beautiful blink there to be able to get the down onto T-Doge. And I think right here, what we're seeing, right, is kind of understanding the pressure, was trying to see if maybe we can get us another slug, or, you know, slug down if you could. Get a couple of kills in the end game, just to kind of more get things going in your favor if you're Backy, right? Like, yeah, you've already lost the set point, but every little bit of momentum shift can be huge here. That is going to be a couple stages that we pick up here in the end game on T-Doge. Of course, they, you know, had used the deliverance on themselves for hook number 1. But overall, Revolution a score of 39 to Own's 23 here in set number 1.
Absolutely impressive performance by both teams here. Again, it was just a matter of, I think, in my opinion, it was the perks that were bought. It feels like that possibly Own's last minute could have changed up their build to go for something a little bit more aggressive, in the sense of that they know that their condition is not to have gens done, so they thought maybe if instead of being a defender they go into the attacking side of things, they could have just got downs quick enough to prevent that, you know, that rundown and whatnot, but it just looks like they weren't able to make it.
Yeah, so that does mean now we're going to be able to see how our team from Revolution here, if they'll be able to carry over this momentum again. We're going to be seeing these survivors back out here for trial number 3 on the Cold Tower. We're going to be seeing some Spirit gameplay here in just a couple minutes. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog. Trial number 3 between Revolution and Owned. And we do indeed see Backy right back out on the killer side here against the survivors from Revolution here on the Spirit, on the Cold Tower. We have been able to find ourselves a survivor relatively quickly here. We see those auras coming in from that Undying, which gets cleansed very, very quickly. About 30 seconds into the trial here, as we do continue to take these scratch marks and try and track them down. There's actually looks like 2 different survivors, one splitting to the left side of the map, one splitting to the right side of the map. Backy is going to chase these ones up in this top right side. Of course, if we can maintain this aggro up on this corrupt side of the map, it does allow for our survivors to start crushing out the objective, whether it be holding them one on some skill checks, or if they might be able to locate that ruin, then we'd have Backy only having 1 perk after another 60 seconds.
Going again with Team Own really bringing out those hex perks to sort of, you know, keep down on that 1 perk situation where they really want to rely on strong perks that come with their counter weaknesses, if that makes sense. They're really taking big risks here, but that's sort of the fun of competitive as well, is not only knowing a definite answer, but seeing big turnarounds. You know, there goes the Ruin as well. So that's 2 Hex Totems down out of the third, which we're not meant to really talk about yet, even though the survivors can't hear us. But they could come in for a real surprise if they don't keep Clinton Totems. So it's going to be really fun to see what happens towards the end game. But for now, we have to focus on what is important, and that's getting our first downs and first gens completed for both teams here.
Yeah, we actually see that first generator back by Shaq does indeed get complete here. And we're going to be seeing this hook being rotated more towards the top, excuse me, sorry. Towards the top of the map. So we know we have at least 2 survivors up this way here. So the Corrupt now going to be off of the gens. It's intriguing. I can't help but wonder, seeing Owned again coming in with the Ruin and the Undying over, say, a Pop, over, say, a Thanatophobia. It makes me wonder if that's showing a lot of respect for Revolution and the fact that you're not sure if you're going to be able to continue keeping that pressure spread in order to get the Thanatophobia value, right? Or you're not necessarily sure you're going to be able to consistently get the hooks to be able to get the Pop goes the Weasel value. So instead, you hope that you can just get as much value out as you can out of the Ruin and the Undying. Unfortunately here, though, we didn't get much value out of either.
It's always interesting to watch Spirit, because a lot of the time, of course, we can't see what the survivors are doing, but, you know, we think as the spectators that, you know, the survivor's probably going to the left, and then you'd see Spirit sort of stand there, wait a couple seconds, and go right. And just like that, they predicted correctly. The survivor is there. And it just goes to show that our competitive players have really trained to get into the heads of the survivors and, you know, find out where they're going to be, where the positioning is, and where they need to be as well.
Get stunned, stupid, says our friend Saint here. Able to apply plus 10 wood to the face. It is going to cause Backy. Oh, I thought it was breaking. Jace actually does a phenomenal job continuing with the tracking here. There's going to be another down. That's also going to be another generator that comes across getting complete, and that's actually a generator up in the top mid here. So that means we're actually breaking up the very notorious 3-gen that's on this top side of the map. And as long as we can, now I think there's still one more middle gen that needs to be complete. At that point, our survivor is going to be looking really good heading towards the end game.
I wonder what Backy's going to do here, because he does have, what is it, 1 or 2 gens here that are pretty sweet to stick around. I don't think he would want to leave this hook if I were him. Even though he has got that top gen, I mean, look at that. You've got 1 in the middle, you know, 2 in the end here at 11 and 10 is what it would be called. It looks like he may as well stick around, and it looks like the survivors are going to try go for some altruistic pull. Ace getting the body block on the lorry, not allowing to be the grab there. Trying to tunnel out Backy, it looks like. We can't really tell yet.
Yeah, especially because right now we've got 2 survivors that are literally right on top of each other, moving in through the short wall jungle gym. We're going to be seeing Backy now moving to this bottom left-hand corner of the map. Yeah, both survivors still, you know, right up on top of each other, trying to see if maybe, I think that is the lorry could potentially try and take the down hit, give a little bit more time for our Kate friend to be able to at least get into this jungle gym. The only problem is now we've got 1 survivor down. Yeah, I actually like this decision. Don't go for the slug. You don't want to give away too much pressure here, right?
That's exactly right. I didn't see which gen that was that got completed, but I imagine it's looking like a very mean 3-gen towards the top of the map here. Even a 4-gen, perhaps. I'm speaking correctly. Looks like they got the generator done and found Kate as well. And you can look at the gens here. That has been split perfectly. Now it's only the right-hand side of the map that the Spirit needs to focus on. Which is a lot more distance to cover, so
we are going to be seeing Backy here trying to rotate this hook towards the middle of the map. That way we can go ahead and quickly push up towards these generators that are more than likely being worked on currently. We are also going to be seeing the elimination coming across here. So this is a 3v1 now. So the game changes just a little bit, but that's going to be generator number 5 now getting complete. Now our survivors are also going to know about that no one escapes death here, which is tough because Claudette now going to be in chase here. 1 survivor down on the ground. The Ace injured, so could be hurt if they move in too close. It's going to get interesting.
Oh, and there's the down. That's 2 slugs. Now, what is the Ace going to do you think? Do you reckon he's going to prioritize a gate? It looks like it from the distance. He's just going to have to leg it, I think. I don't think he can try and pick up the lorry, or I don't think he can do anything right now because, well, he's injured. Lorry got up on her own, though, using Unbreakable. Going straight towards the exit gate or switching around here. What are they doing, I wonder? Do you reckon they're going to try and get free out?
It's intriguing because Sane is a fresh hook, right? So if you were to be able to get the save, that would have worked in your favor. But at the same time, you don't want to get T-Doge. You don't want to give T-Doge up because they are also a fresh hook. So, I mean, you're still able to at least get the 2 out. That's 5 stages out the door here. So that's going to be a really strong performance. We're looking, I mean, overall, on the Survivor side, when you come out to try and set the pace in a set, you do realize that there's less points available on the Survivor side than the Killer side. So realistically, your goal is to minimize the lead that the Killer takes in the first trial of the set. So if you're able to either take the lead or in this case tie, that's really honestly more of a win, right? So I would say it's going to be really interesting now to see how Own's survivors are going to respond, because if they are not able to come out and beat this performance by Rev's survivors, they're going to already be down 2-0 set points.
Very scary indeed. I mean, you saw how they play. You know, what if they get all gens done before our Killer on Revolution can even, you know, keep up with the pace? It'll be a split set, but we don't really know what's going to come, because from the last performance, it looked like that the generators were getting done, but they weren't able to keep up the chases against the nurse. But it's not like many people can. So I wonder how Owned is going to react to Revolution as a Killer here. We'll find out shortly anyways, after a quick break. Alrighty, folks, we are heading back into the second round of Spirit on Coal Tower, and we're going to have, I believe it's Revolution this time as the Killer, and we're going to have Owned as the survivors. So let's go take a quick dive in and see what's going on. Looks like Spirit's already found her first chase. Quick pre-drop on the pellet. She's going to try to do a mind game, it looks like here, and gets a lucky hit, going with the reverse pellet stun here on the ace.
Very unfortunate. I think was hoping to have the Spirit coming towards the other side of that pallet. Instead, ends up taking the very early M1 here, and now going to be followed up with a very early down, about 45 seconds into this trial here. And it's going to be interesting to see. We see a rather aggressive build, if we're being quite honest, when we look down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Of course, Corrupt still has about 60 seconds left. If I had to guess, since we're walking all the way over here, yep, there it is, going to be that notification from us for the pain resonance there. So we are now going to know that that generator is the one that has the most progress. We're going to be seeing Blip making their way across here pretty quickly here. I like the fact that they do part of their traversing the map in that moonwalk status, so you aren't giving away too much information. Now also going to be getting the pop goes the weasel. So if Blip does a good job of getting the downs that turn into the pain resonances hooks, as well as following that with the pop, 40% regression basically per hook, that's tough.
Yeah, it looks like here that we really just want to keep getting pain resonance out if we can. Assuming there's no DS here, we might be able to get that hook and get even more pain out.
Oh, and he slaps him with the D, says drop it. Kind of had to be anticipating that, if we're being quite honest, seeing the ace kind of more staying up towards the hook itself instead of retreating away. The only thing, though, is that does now get rid of that D strike potential for Blip. So that means now at this point, you can tunnel anybody off hook at will for the rest of this trial here. But we do see from our survivors from Owned pounding out these generators. First 2 done.
Absolutely incredible so far. And as you said, that's right. Once the DS has been found, it is a 5-second stun plus the distance made from the 5-second stun. But now it's pretty much no man's land on who gets hooked can die straight away. So
man, we're already this far into the trial. I think that was our timer for these guys to start the trial. That's when you know that these guys are on their game here. Yeah. We do see, though, Blip now at this point is going to get ourselves a second hook, a very fast unhook as well, plus the for the Peepo play, something we've been seeing shifted more into the meta, trying to prolong the tunnel out process. I do got to say, this is one of those cases, though, where I feel like the for the Peepo was used very, very well. I feel like sometimes we see the For the People play end up coming out when you could have ended up just getting the full heal regardless, but we'll have to keep an eye on Canna here because, of course, Canna will not be able to be healed for a little bit of time. That's actually going to be Canna getting found here back at the shack here. This more than likely is not going to result in a basement hook because the basement's on the other side of the map, right? More likely so. We are going to be seeing, though, back here. This is a pain resonance. And not only did you get a pain resonance, but you also got another sound notification on another gen, so you've got some map awareness here.
Exactly. You've got the two options, one for pain resonance and one for pop. It looks like we're just going to go pop on whichever gen just gets to us first, but oh wow, they are not having good luck with those skill checks over there. They must be suffering with something over there. Looks like it was the unhook, was it?
Yeah, that was the unhook sound, I think, there.
Oh, wow. Incredible hit coming out from Blip here, knowing how the game works and knowing how lunges work.
And this is going to be right back to that situation, right? Like, you can just instantly go for the pickup. You've already gotten slapped with the D. You don't have to worry about it again through the rest of this trial. So now two separate survivors at this point are able to be removed from the trial with their next hook here. And this is going to be tough. We're talking about still sitting at 2. Now a third gen is going to be getting complete there. That does also, it looks like, breaks up the traditional top side 3 gen. However, we do have this generator over here on the right side of the map. I think that's where a lot of our competitive players would call around the 3 o'clock position. That one can still be linked into a 3 gen, though, up on this side of the map. So our survivors do need to be wary of that.
Looks like Blip here is taking no chances when it comes to Canna. Canna looks to be running as far as they can just to not go down again and give another Scourge hook. In fact, it looks like that Canna's just running away from the hook in general. It doesn't really matter if they live, but down they go. Very unfortunate for Canna here. It's pretty much just been giving out instant downs. Big pallet save, though.
With the pallet save here, absolutely huge, because that was going to be another hook stage. Now instead, you've got to go track this survivor back down and try and get them back down on the ground and up onto a hook. And we do see this aggro is actually getting pulled all the way to the basement here by Canna, which does lead me to believe we're probably not too far, from seeing that 5th gen popping up on that top side of the map. This is going to be an elimination. This is, again, one of those small plays that we don't realize just how much value you really get out of it, because you have to go into the basement, you've got to get the survivor out of the locker, then put him up on a hook. This should buy our not enough time. Plus, we've got a haste status. This is tough.
Plus, with being hooked in the basement, there's a definite chance of no Scourge hook, so no gens going down. Backy, unfortunately, taking the, what is it called again? No ed hit. But that lets the other survivors know that there now is an instant down perk in the trial, and they just need to go find it and disable it.
I mean, that is the elimination, though, so if we already have survivors up on this top door, as I say, you just take the 2 out here. That's 2 fresh hooks here, so that's absolutely huge from the survivors here from Owned, because they are able to come out here and in trial number 2 of the score of 16-12, that means actually Owned takes set number 2 by a score of 31-27.
An amazing turnaround, to be honest. They did incredibly well, both teams, and to see how it ended was even better. So we're going to be moving on to, what would this be, set number 3 here?
The set number 3, and it's going to be the Oni on Sheltered Woods. Get excited.
Looking forward to it. We'll see you guys there in a couple minutes. Alrighty here, folks. We're going to be loading into the 3rd set with Oni here. It's going to be a really interesting game because a lot of people have seemed to really like the response of Oni being in competitive. So it's going to be really fun. We have Saint here playing the big Oni, and we are on Sheltered Woods here. Take a quick look at our survivors to see what we're running. Definitely got Head On, which is a perk I want to see be used against him, if possible, from the survivors. Otherwise, we got some pretty fun perks here to watch. Our first chase already beginning here with, it looks to be Nancy Hasty getting a quick first hit, which is no good at all. Gonna give Oni that power that he doesn't need this early.
We do see, as far as our add-ons down there in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got the Splintered Hole, which will help as far as dropping a few more of those blood orbs, especially during our rushed actions if we happen to see them. but also seeing the Akito's Crutch, which tells me that we're not so much looking for a big value out of the power in the sense of slugging and getting multiple downs out of each power. I think what we're looking to do is just use the power to quickly get ourselves a down, secure ourselves a hook, and then with that splintered hole, just rearm that power right back up as well. So we see it down around that 75-second marker. This is going to be a hook down here by this bottom right-hand position of the map, kind of where a lot of our competitive players would be calling that 5, right? Which is going to require our survivors to break away from those generators over across the way, have to move in for a save. I think Saint, honestly, probably won't want us, even though we got it early down, and in other cases, we normally see our killer kind of secure the second stage. I think because of the spread on these gens, I would probably use this power to push across the map. What do you think?
It looks like that Saint kind of just wants to kick around though. Again, he did unfortunately pick in a strange area, which was going for hooking in the corrupt area, which means there is nothing to do once they get unhooked. But it has given these survivors a lot of potential to get gens done, and as we see, that's 2 out the door already. Saint's gonna have to really make up some time here by getting a down or 2 quickly with his power.
Let me see you now moving through the short wall jungle gym, not really able to get our tracking, decides to go ahead and leave the chase here. Now heading back towards our hook, able to find the Nia out of position. This is going to be another survivor on the ground back here. We are going to actually go back into our Demon Dash. I think just checking the other side, not going to have too much time left in that power, thanks to the lack of Lion's Fang, which of course would have at least given us an additional 10 seconds there. But I think Saint's going to be okay with that, right? You've still got the second hook that is now, or the previous hook, which is now forced into a second stage. Now you've also got Baki on a hook. Not quite back to back. I mean, they are in a jungle gym, right? But I mean, they're in the same quadrant of the map here, so Saint plenty of control.
Yeah, it looks like for sure that, oh, hang on a second. We see someone. It's Nancy. We're really just going to tunnel this person out, which means we're not getting stacks on our No Way Out perk, but we are going to get someone out of the trial early, which will put some pressure onto Jen, so...
I mean, understandable decision, right? You were able to get the second stage force. If you can already move this thing to a 3v1, especially just like that. We are going to be seeing, though, across the way, we did have the safe unhook come in, also the reset come in, while we also had a third generator complete. So I don't know if Saint might be worried about the potential of a decisive strike here or something, but I feel like, you know, you had mentioned going for the tunnel out. Definitely understand why you go for it. I worry if we take the extra time waiting for the decisive strike, does that allow our survivors enough time to break up this 3-gen that we're looking at right there?
Looking at him, 3-gen's done already, and just really waiting out that DS, not wanting to take any chances. Not too sure how to feel about the play, unless Saint has something going on in his head that we just don't understand yet. I personally would have just gone for the hook and then start to apply pressure on gens, but it depends on what he can pull out of the hat here, of what sort of plays he can do.
I wonder if his thought process was that it seemed to be a rather safe unhook behind him, right, when we were hooking up Baki in the jungle gym here, which made him believe that maybe that was the decisive strike. Just didn't want to wait the additional time, instead just playing things safe. We are able to find Baki again, though, and this could get... Ooh, but now also Adam is here as well. This is intriguing. I feel like, you know, Adam would give you the more points. There's going to be the hit before the stun. So now also going to have access to those blood orbs. Only really these couple here should give us access to that power here again as well. Going to be intriguing to see what Saint can do with this. Saint
swinging around the side here. I did hear a gen pump. I'm not too sure about you, but I don't think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to go for the down instead on Mark, which he does get just through the window. Very lucky hit there. But what about this gen? Do you think anyone was on it?
I'm not sure. I mean, you can hear that things are rocking, about ready to get to popping. And, I mean, this is going to more than like, I don't know if that gets finished or not, regardless if it does. I mean, this is at least another fresh hook here for Saint. That's going to be the good news. It's going to be a third stack on that No Way Out. Now going to actually be seeing Nia is going to be able to finish that generator here, which also gave us that information from the Rancor, let us know where the other survivor is, but they're just going to go ahead and crank out that fifth and final generator. Now going to be seeing Saint break across the map towards where that last gen had just gotten complete here, because we do know that that is Canna who did complete that generator. Canna is our last fresh hook survivor, so if we could find them, that would be huge. What awareness finding Canna in the locker. That is 3 stages here that you're able to secure up potentially here in the late portion of the trial. The question though now at this point is, where's Backy? Backy actually is going to be going to get that save from Adam, but that save is quite a bit away from either door.
Yeah, and the worst part as well is that I bet Adam feels good about the adrenaline that he just got to heal up, but one hit and he is out of the trial, eliminated, allowing 2 whole stages to go to Saint here, which will be dangerous. So he's going to have to play very stealthy, even though he should be the one going for save right now.
There's the save though across the way. Oh, here's going to be the Nia getting down, though. That's going to be Backy. Backy is basically the 2 stages that you just lost from Canna getting off of the hook, right? So, I mean, you'll take that trade, especially, too, because it is going to be limiting the stages that are heading out across the way. The only problem is they had not touched the door yet, so they had 4 stacks of the No Way Out here. So now there's an additional minute before our survivors can even start attacking the doors. Saint has plenty of time to make something shake here.
This is a really scary situation. A lot of clutch plays could come in. Wow, just the awareness of knowing that the survivor was there. I didn't even hear them, and I'm the one spectating here. That is incredible. Unfortunately, not getting the hit, but he does get a lot of blood from that.
So now we're going to be seeing that Demon Dash coming back out. We've got the short wall jungle gym here. Saint not wanting to play with that. Instead, heading back towards where the unhooked came in. Going to be able to interrupt the save, or interrupt the reset. Oh, big swing and miss on to the Nia here. And, I mean, the No Way Out just about expired up off of these doors here, so not too much longer. Now actually going to be expired, so now our friend across the way, Canna, who we haven't seen in a bit, probably working on that door, over on the left side of the map, over kind of, I think, what a lot of people would consider that 9 position if you are a competitive player. Good job! Oh, I thought he was actually did enough with the hesitation to avoid the down, but instead, last second down from Saint there, on to Mark. Mark being one of the 2 survivors that would render us the most points in the end game here as well.
Looks like Canna is just not taking a chance. He's leaving that area, and so is Becky, allowing for the Mori to come in.
Oh yeah, when the moon hits your eye and it's your turn to die. That's Amori. That is going to end up our game here, though. Really solid performance when everything's all said and done. We're looking at a score of 20-13 here, it looks like, in favor of Rev. So even though Rev did just drop set point number 2, we saw a very good bounce back from there on the killer side. It's going to be a lot of pressure for whoever comes out here for owned in this next trial, needing to get, what, 10 stages essentially?
Yeah, 10 whole stages, I think. You're right. Again, like, this is going to be really scary to see. That was a really tense endgame, and even though it didn't result in a 4K, that's still a lot of points coming out here from our team. So the opposite team is going to have to really pull through and try something or do something tricky with their perks that the survivors wouldn't expect.
So I'll be intrigued to see what kind of spice they decide to bring out here for trial number 6. It's been close thus far. I anticipate it to remain that way through till the very end. So we will be back shortly with our second trial of Oni on the Sheltered Woods here in just a few minutes.
Alrighty here, folks. We are going back in again on the Oni rounds, but we're switching the teams around. Having a quick look here, it looks like that Mark, who's going to be playing out Oni tonight, is going to have a really good idea of what to do. Starting off in the shack straight into a chase, which is excellent to see here, wasting no time at all to get a first hit, hopefully. But immediately loses the chase as well. Maybe he's more focused on getting gens. I'm not too sure what the play was there.
I think he anticipated there being a second survivor back in that corner. Not sure if he had seen T-Doge earlier while working up towards this portion of the map, but we do see now at this point is going to be finding Doge. And actually going to be working back towards the corrupt area. I mean, this is really what you want to do as the survivor. Going to be seeing a quick pallet thrown, plus 10 wood added to the face here. But that is now a second pallet that has been thrown and also removed. with the brutal strength, which is going to be something we're going to want to keep an eye out for, because of course Sheltered Woods here, not necessarily known for having a whole bunch of pallets here. So really now on this top side, a third pallet being thrown and maybe potentially removed here soon. Our survivors are going to need to make sure that they can crank these gens.
It looks like here as well, with Mark running the Aikido's Crutch and the Blood Fang, is it? Or is it the Tiger Fang?
Lion's Fang.
Lion's Fang. I never get the name right. It looks like that we're just going to go for the extra duration and the extra speed and pressure. So getting this down and now getting the final Blood Orbs to enter Blood Fury, it's going to be really good to see what's going to happen with, what play Mark is going to make with these add-ons. Whether he goes for multiple downs or he just uses it to push people off. Considering he lost that ruin, it isn't going to be helpful too much pushing people off. But securing a basement hook here is definitely going to put pressure on them anyway. So we'll see what happens shortly here.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing because... Oh, you saw those blood orbs, right? Yeah. There we are, right back up into the use of the power again. So this is going to be tough because... Yeah, I mean, the Corrupt just now getting off of these generators, so you know that most of the gens on this half of the map really have pretty minimal progress. This is probably the one that's the most progressed up on this top side, now going to be getting a pop kick here, so Mark can kind of just vibe around this basement, honestly. Make sure there's no one getting a save for free, and try and play this into the late game, because remember, those first couple of chases did already take place over on this side of the map, so... What we're going to be looking at is if chases end up on this side of the map in the end portion of our trial, there's no resource other than Shack Pallet.
There's only the Shack Pallet and window here. Apart from that, it's pretty much just used up pellets here. So camping out would be the smartest thing to do. Even though you are losing a couple of gens, it's going to be a secured kill for sure. Seeing some red lines on those trees in the background probably tells us that a survivor might be trying to come in for a play. Tito's shooting second phase here, unfortunately.
Taking a quick check back in on this generator that we applied the pop kick to. Doesn't sound like there's any progress on it. Mark playing this very smart, very deliberate here. I mean, I think it would be easy to fall for the trap to go check on that furthest most gen, right? Be like, hey, I can still keep this thing and shut this thing down before a fourth gen pops. But that could also allow for our survivors to very easily move in and retrieve Doge from the basement here. So, man, I mean, as a survivor, is like, what do you do here, right? I mean, maybe... Because you know if you just triple up on the gen across the way, it does lock you into a 3-gen. That gen behind us, though, that we initially gave the pop kick to, we could hear had a decent amount of progress. So maybe our survivors splitting pressure on the furthest most gens might be able to get these two things done and minimize the stages that they hand over to Mark here. I'll be intrigued to see.
Mark was playing peekaboo at the shack there, hoping someone was going to pick around the corner, which they did a little bit too late, but... Now he's found a survivor who he's decided not to commit to. He just wants to get Ace out of the game. Hopefully he doesn't have... Oh my goodness, the BT hit on Ace there. And Ace is going to stick around, play some peekaboo as well. Swinging around here, not going to go for the Ace anymore. Oh no, Mark might be getting a bit flustered here on what to do. He's got a whole Blood Fury, but not a single down and half of the power already gone here.
Yeah, but we do want to keep in mind, right? We had mentioned before that Shack was really the only resource left on this top side of the map. So if we can make something shake and, really good patience here to get the down on it to T-Doge. You can anticipate with this survivor hanging around and trying to play as much defense as possible. We're probably not going to have to worry about a slap or anything here. So in this case, this is going to be the elimination. However... Last time we checked in on that generator over on the right side of the map, yeah, I was going to say, had a whole lot of progress. So there it is, gen number 5 getting complete. No end game build, no way out. 9 stages still left on the table. Right now, Mark needs to make something shake and needs to make it shake right now.
Yeah, I'm very surprised when I saw Laurie standing there. You know, usually a survivor wouldn't have the guts at the very least to, you know, body block an Oni with the power on, but he just didn't care. He just took that body block to try give Tito some extra time, which it happened, and now look, he's only got 2 whole stages.
That's going to be tough here. I mean, that is going to be... I mean, it ends up being 6 in the end because of the progressions, right? But remember, our killer last trial was able to get all fresh hooks, was also able to get 2 eliminations here. So this is going to be Rev bouncing back here.
Just looking here at the back end, it looks like that the scoring wasn't able to be done by Sin. He's telling us now Sin is doing our scoring. It looks like he had some technical difficulties with it, so the points at the moment aren't updated here. So we'll have to quickly put on an intermission, figure out where the scoring sets to at the end here, and then we'll be back after a quick break here. Alrighty, folks. Sorry about the quick intermission we had to take. Our scorer's internet died, so he couldn't watch the games and figure out what was happening with the scoreboard, unfortunately. Luckily, though, we do have the scores written here internally, which it looks like we've got here 36 for Revolution on the Oni set versus Own's 25. So the point has indeed gone to Revolution here. Now we're going to be moving on to the Deathslinger games on Suffocation Pit. And as we can see, we've got a pretty strong build here from Baki as Deathslinger with the Warden's Keys and the Prison Chain here. It looks like we could have a really interesting match.
Yeah, definitely going to be intriguing as the match continues here. Of course, Suffocation Pit does sometimes tend to do what looks like it's doing up on the top side of the map, which does sometimes give our killers a little bit better RNG. It looks like that. No, actually, I'm mistaken. I thought that middle gen was more rotated up towards the top side. It is really just more rotated towards the right. So still kind of more of a 3-1-3 setup here on the Suffocation Pit. We do see T-Doge doing a good job with this first chase, though, making sure that we're staying back here in the corrupt side of the map, allowing the rest of our survivors some time. Ooh, nice firecracker here to get the blind. Allows the rest of our survivors to get across the map and start working on those generators, and especially since we don't have a ruin to worry about here, that's going to be really, really big for them.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like here that we're still going to be going for the ace, who's just running towards comp corner as they always do. Moving away. Oh, no, back into it. And it's just going to be the biggest time waster here, especially on the corrupt side. We're going to see plentiful gens go by now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first one that gets popped. We got about 10 seconds left on the corrupt, so we know that we've been almost into this trial here for 2 minutes. Plenty of time for us to potentially have another gen or two getting lined up here. So we do see this one around that 60% marker. We do also look like it might be potentially having Saint. No, not so much setting up for a save. Instead, getting set up more to start working on one of these corrupt gens. Looks like Baki may be kind of okay. You know, contempt with just vibing and more securing the second hook, which will allow our survivors from Rev to just pound some gens if that's the case.
That's it. Having one gen done already, it's going to be really fun to, you know, watch and see what happens here. Oh, Laurie tried to let go to move out, but unfortunately not. Uh-oh. Buying as much time as they can to prevent them going to second stage, but it doesn't matter. The unhook has already happened here.
That wasn't a second stage force, though, right? Like that still came in time.
They still came in time, so there wasn't a second stage force, luckily.
That is going to be another fresh hook, though. So I mean, this is going to be important. We want to keep an eye on as we see Baki start to collect up some of these fresh hooks, because usually on the Deathslinger set, this isn't one of those sets where you anticipate where it's going to come down to who can get the 4K quickest. Sometimes it's just about who can get the most hooks. So if you can spread the pressure, make sure you get the 4 fresh. That's going to be really, really big here. The Claudette, same, is going to be able to get the stun, so at least able to build some distance. But right now, 2 gens, 2 hooks. But, I mean, if our survivors can start attacking these generators on that shack side, that could be huge. Nice shot here onto T-Doge from distance, getting that big prison chain value to be able to pull them all the way in. Go for the slug here. We do have somebody coming in for the save here. Should be able to get that done just in time. However, we are able to get the shot onto the Lori. Going to be trying to get more of that prison chain value here. Now there is no borrowed time, however, so Blip right back onto the ground. Looks like we also used for the Peepo to be able to get T-Doge up off of the ground here, but this is a second stage now going to be forced onto Blip.
Using that for the People play has just revealed that there is no longer an obsession, and unless Saint or someone else has a decisive strike here, Rancor could seriously come into play for Saint here. If Deathslinger does go down to the final gen here and the exit get powered, Saint's going to be in a lot of trouble, especially because he hasn't been hooked yet. Until about now, it looks like.
Question is, what kind of time is this buying for our survivors, right? Like, we know that most of that we've done a good job attacking the gens. You can look at the split, right? We've got pretty well gens across the board. Here's going to be, though, with that fresh hook onto Saint. So that does mean Sane being the only fresh hook still left on the table. Blip still injured as well, because, of course, they just recently got pulled up off of that hook, but Blip is on death hook, so we're going to want to play this very, very cautiously.
I feel like Blip's only choice now is to get healed up and just start hiding for gens and maybe go for a save, but there's not a whole lot else he can do here. Seeing some stretch marks to the right. Someone was here before, getting the massive pop value onto the gen. Oh no. We both had the same idea.
Yeah,
Blip is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this is not what you want right here. This could be already lining up for a 3v1. Good job to be able to take the dodge there and avoid the shot. We do see, I believe that is T-Doge rolling up here. Now, actually, two different survivors.
T-Doge
Operation SEAL Team Swift here to move in for the protection. Not going to be able to get the hit. And also for the Peepo there by Saint. That way we can keep Blip in the trial just a little bit longer.
Excellent plays coming up from the survivors here. See, this is where you want that for the people value. Not so much when you unhook them just for a free heal, but to take the hit, to take the extra points. Unfortunately, missing that chain there, allowing our Lori here to get through the window. What a shot through that.
What are we doing here? There is no way.
That was incredible to see here.
I'm mind blown. I didn't even know that that was a shot, to be honest with you, bro. That was absolutely insane. Not going to be able to find the connection this time, though. This chase is taking a very long time. We had already seen generator number 4 get crushed out here by Rev. There's going to be generator number 5 getting crushed out by Rev. Also, you'll notice that there's already somebody on the door. 3 stacks of no way out, which means 48 seconds until our survivors can start powering the doors here. Nice job being able to bait out the shot. Now going to be able to get to the filler pallet back in this back corner here. This is a really good job by Blip. Now just gonna corner up here a couple of quick kneels to assert dominance, and that is at this point about half of the time expired on the no way out as well.
You know what? Blip just did his job perfectly then. He really started to lean forward in his chair and said, right, I'm taking this killer for a long chase and I'm getting my teammates out the door, which is what's going to happen now, I think. You know, you've got 2 perks that aren't doing anything at the moment. Soon you're going to have no way out that's done nothing for you. And then all that leaves you is Rancor onto that Saint. So it's going to be super interesting to see here what is the next game step. You know, what are we doing next?
Now, we do have pretty friendly doors, if we're being quite honest here for Backy. I mean, you can see once we get to this corner, should be able to, keep an eye on the doors back and forth. So now the approach from our survivors is going to have to be very, very cautious. 1, you want to make sure you're not handing over too many stages. 2, you got to make sure that Saint is staying out of the way and out of sight, out of mind. We see some scratch marks here. That is going to be from Sane, which is very, very tough here because Sane is the last fresh hook survivor, the survivor that would be rendering the most points if they were to be camped into a last stage here. Nice job by T-Doge to come in to be able to allow for the even the prison chains to not get the real in. So that is only going to be a health state change. Now going to be seeing them moving towards the door here. Nice shot from distance onto T-Doge as well. This time going to be getting the prison value changed. This is going to be tough. Yeah, we've got the warden's key for the faster reload, but we've only got 1 shot, 1 opportunity. Something about Mom's spaghetti, and that's going to be a missed shot here for T-Doge. That's 3 out the door. Absolutely insane.
That was an incredible endgame there. That was honestly shocking. Look, I'll be honest, I knew that one of them had the head on here, which was T-Doge. I thought that when Claudette ran up and snuck right next to that Lucker, I thought I was going to see something happen there. I thought there was going to be a pretty cool play, but there wasn't anything. Either way, the teammates still did an excellent job of taking hits and letting their team out the door, leaving us only 1 kill and 3 out the door. That leaves us with, how many points are we sitting on here?
So that's going to be a score for 17-12 in favor of Revolution on the survivor side.
That is huge. That is massive.
So that means the pressure really going to be flipped into the way of Owen Tier. They're going to need to come out here and essentially limit to 4 stages. You got to make sure when you're limiting to 4 stages as well that that's not fresh hooks across the board.
Across
Yeah,
the board,
because
yeah.
I guess technically 4 fresh hooks across the board for the survivors would still technically work because everyone's getting out? Because it'd be 12 to 18 or no. Yeah, 12 to 18. So that would still technically work. But so they need to get around as long as it's all about how the fresh hooks wind up here, right? You still need around that 5 stages, though, I'm pretty sure. So Own's going to need to play a darn near perfect game if they want to keep this series alive. Because, of course, Revolution currently up 2-1 here in this best of 5. I see we've already got a bunch of people starting to load in. Looks like they're excited. I know I'm excited. I'm guessing y'all are excited here. So we're going to be bringing trial number 8 to y'all here in just a couple minutes. All right, let's go ahead and take another trip here back into the fog. Trial number 8 between Revolution and Owned. And we're going to be seeing Saint out on the suffocation pit here on the Death Slinger. And pretty, I don't want to say easy win condition, but a rather obtainable win condition for sure, especially because it does look like we were able to find ourselves a survivor relatively quickly. That's going to be Mark. Is able to get the stun, but that's after the hit. Luckily for Mark there, the little bit of a hesitation did cause Saint to go ahead and pull down from the aiming down sight. Does allow Mark to move up towards this top side of the map. Not able to get to this pallet space, though. That is going to be a very quick down.
Yeah, looking here, getting that down very quick. And Mark, Mark tried to bring them to the corrupt side to, you know, hopefully get their teammates on some gens, but I don't think it actually worked out in his favor because now he's hooked on a side where there aren't gens. So, look, the reset is more likely to happen here, but look how far you have to run just to get to the first gen. You've got a lot of distance to make. So, it's just a matter of whether Saint wants to stick around, maybe kick down some doors, or if he's going to go patrol gens, because I know what I would be doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you've allotted yourself the opportunity to kind of big vibe here, right? I mean, this is a hook buried deep back on the top side of the map. Even when we're looking around at our RNG, all 3 generators on this side of the map are, you know, pretty well tucked back here in this, even kind of the corner, which is pretty filthy if we're being quite honest here. And with a, you know, win condition being right around that, you know, 5 hook mark, very easy decision by Saint here to just go ahead and just camp this thing out, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. And it just looks like that Mark is going to be telling the team to just stick on gens, don't worry about me, but that's going to turn into a 3v1, and if there's still 2 gens left, that's going to be super hard to come back from for the survivor side. But I also understand Saint's win condition here is, it's, you know, it's going to be pretty not easy, as you said. What was the wording you used, Q?
Obtainable.
Obtainable, yeah, exactly. So there's not too much yes to do here in this case. So it's going to be interesting anyways to watch, for sure.
And we see Saint has been able to push up, you know, to this, very notorious choke point here on the suffocation pit, trying to keep an eye out, make sure nobody's able to sneak back behind them in order to get this save. Because last thing we would want is to have, you know, camped out essentially 118 seconds of 120-second elimination time, then allowing for the unhook here. We see the Nia moving quickly around the backside towards the hook. However, if they're by themselves, I don't think they get this save. Oh, we've got Canna here. No way.
Ooh.
Stop it.
Oh my. Taking hits. Look at Saint playing very well. I'm surprised there was no hit onto Mark just then. Maybe just knowing that there has to be BT on one of them.
Yeah, it was intriguing to watch. I was almost wondering if maybe we were going to go after the fresh hook, knowing that, you know, the fresh hooks render us the most points, right? Nice shot, though, at this point. On to Mark. We're going to be seeing that prison chain value. Probably should have reeled in just a little bit more here because Mark is going to be able to get the vault across. Now going to be seeing Nancy moving in here to try and play a little bit of defense as Mark continues to move up towards the bottom side of the map. Nice shot, though. However, Nancy is going to be right there to be able to prevent the reel and continues to prolong this chase. There's a second survivor here as well, trying to play defense. That does mean we have only one survivor currently working on a gen, but if they are breaking up that 3 gen up on this top side of the map, that would be exactly what they need.
Right, getting the hit onto back here, but losing sight of Mark is going to be detrimental because, I mean, you can look at the points and just know right now that we're, again, at a very tight win condition. So everyone's going to be super on their toes, you know, sort of clenching up, wanting to make sure that they're making no mistakes here. Oh, wow, what an excellent shot coming here from Saint. Is it going to be a hit? There is no hit, unfortunately.
We're seeing those resets coming in across the way. Backy getting reset here. Still chasing our one survivor back as the Australian sensation, Miss Barn would say, humping main back here, trying to take as much time as possible to really give our other survivors. And you can see they're all getting reset across the way, including Mark, who is on death hook. So we had talked about how this win condition is obtainable, but right now we are seeing our survivors from Owned really doing a good job of putting their best foot forward.
That's exactly it. I just saw someone's hand leave that vault location. Zane saw it too, meaning that we're going to go in for a hit here at the window. We don't make the hit, but we do get the injure anyway from the chains breaking.
Of course, with the injury from the chains does also cause the need to mend. So just a little bit of additional game slowdown. Mark here, unfortunately, going to be vaulting right into Saint's face. Not what you want to be doing when you're on death hook, my friend. We do see a quick tease of the ADS down sight.
I think he's got fat shamed, and it looks like his Saint got fat shamed too. I was wondering why Mark would have run around that tree, and that's why.
Nice shot. There's an injured survivor behind us. No pallet save enjoyers?
Unfortunately not, unless, you know, Saint wants to walk over there. I mean, something could happen there, but...
Now, this is tough here because this is the elimination. This is a 3v1. We have survivors more than likely up on that top side of the map and are going to be able to get one of those things done, but there is an injured survivor over here on this bottom side of the map. Not sure where they happen to, you know, dip off to. It does appear that they are somewhat of a ninja, leaving no track marks or any signs behind here. Now, Saint is going to have to move up towards the top side of the map. My boy Caleb moves with a limp, though, moves a little bit slower. Not sure how much progress is up on this top left generator. We do see some scratch marks, though, which leads me to believe it's not the furthest away. That down, though, now on to Canna is tough because now at this point, you essentially are going to need to finish this gen, get the save, and then get out the door if you're wanting the set point.
That's exactly it. I believe Canna is Canna first hook? I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, Canna's fresh hook.
Whoa. That's a lot of points going to Revolution right now. Owned is gonna have to battle these the last gen as fast as they can and just get anyone they can out of here. Watching out for Canna, though. If Canna does get unhooked, they're going to face the wrath of Rancor, but even then, anyone who is healthy right now, such as Pasty, is going to suffer the wrath of Noed.
We're going to be seeing a very early pallet throw. We have both survivors back here. One of them going to be the Nancy. That's going to be the down. I think we're going to probably see, yeah, the slug here. See if we can locate. Oh, no, figuring that that's probably just a little too far away here. So we're going to go ahead and get our friend Pasty off the ground. That is going to be another fresh hook, though. Also going to be a fresh hook in the basement here. Does make the unhooking process take just a little bit longer here. Not sure where our second door is. Our second door is actually across the map, kind of close. Wait a minute, right? Yeah,
wow,
across the map.
Opposite corners.
I'm not sure if we're going to have enough time to go over it. Well, the hook was, though, on the opposite side of main. So they might not be to the doors until just a couple of seconds ago. Maybe Saint can get over here, but it looks like Saint also kind of worried about this player in the basement, and understandably so, because you don't need any more hooks if you're Saint. Right now, what the survivors need is the save and then the perfect escape here, because that would at least cause us to run things back in set number 4. But you'll see on that timer on the left side here for Pacey, we have only got a couple of seconds here until that second stage is forced. And that will, if I am not mistaken, yeah, we'll end up putting things in favor of Revolution. Of course, Revolution being up 2-1 set points wise means that that is going to be them securing up the series here in just 4 sets, 3-1. Do gotta say, the Owned showed a lot of fight today. A lot of these sets were very, very close. Just unfortunately, Revolution, doing what Revolution's kind of been known to do in the OCE region.
That's exactly it. It was honestly really fun to watch from both sides, and Owns being able to take a set from Revolution, I'm sure, it would have been making a small dent in the wall here, but Revolution now has to start to worry that maybe there will be a team that will beat them. Maybe there's going to be a team that will slowly rise up and take them, and their whole status and global knowing rank of being undefeated won't be so undefeated.
I'm trying to think here, would this be... No, this wouldn't be Revolution's first set loss of the season, right? They've dropped a couple of other sets here. I don't know, though. I think the big thing that for Revolution, and I feel like when Revolution drops a set, and I don't want this to be reflect as a negative across of any other teams that are in the league right now, but I feel like when Revolution falls, it's going to be really in part to Revolution beating themselves on top of whoever they're playing, taking advantage of the situation. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. It seems like Revolution has gone against too many teams now that they just know what to expect from teams, which isn't a bad thing. It just means that teams need to spice some things up or take people by surprise, which, who knows, that could happen at any stage here. So it's just a matter of who's going to do it. Maybe not one of the existing teams who have versed Revolution will do something, but perhaps even a newer team in the next league series could come up, and maybe they've never played competitive before, or maybe they have played competitive. Who knows?
But that is, just so we have an official score here handed out, we did say that Revolution was taking the 4th set, wrapping things up, but that final score of the 4th set is going to be Revolution 38, Owned 24. And that is going to be winding things down here as far as for this week of OCE League action here. A lot of good games this weekend, a lot of fun. We are going to be back again here. We'll start on Thursday, of course, with the Fog Down Under podcast, and we will have our games on Friday and Saturday here. I'll try and get these games up onto YouTube over the next couple of days as well for people who might have missed them here or there throughout the course of the weekend. But big shout out to the staff team that works in the back, not just on actual game day, but everything that kind of goes on to make sure game day does go as smooth as possible. They are really the unsung heroes. Yo Bro and I kind of have the easy job today. We get to show up, yell about esports, everything that makes sure that this goes easy. Is really that's the tough job. So big shout out to those working in the background. Make sure when you see them in the Discord, out in the fog, around in the scene, make sure you say thanks, because again, it is all, of course, volunteer work on their part. Big shout out to the teams today. Great matches to watch. And Yo Bro here stepping up, wearing both caps, not just the usual producer role, but stepping up as a last second fill in on the desk. Today was an absolute blast, my friend.
It certainly was, Q. It's always been a pleasure, doing the production side of things, doing the scoring, switching the scenes, making everything look nice and smooth. But being able to have that role, as well as being here up on the desk, talking and commentating over games with you, has been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
So chat, next week, unless we have any reschedules, remember on Thursday, we are going to be getting started 8:30 Sydney time for the podcast. Then as far as Friday and Saturday games will be starting quite early. So make sure it's our normal scheduled time. So make sure y'all are up and at 'em and ready to get to it. We got so many more exciting games next week. If y'all are watching and haven't already done so, do me a favor, smack that follow button, turn those notifications on. That way we can catch y'all when we do go back live, and until we catch you guys back over here on the channel, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all, that's Yo Bro. I'm Q from the rest of OCE. Have a great rest of y'all's day, man.
See you around, folks.